Hello students, how are you all? In the previous class we have studied till the compound microscope. Now we have to study compound microscope in some more detail. We studied that the compound microscope was invented by Robert Hooke, and why this was called the compound microscope? Because it has two lenses. So because of the two lenses it is known as the compound microscope. You can see in this figure also the ordinary compound microscope of today is a greatly improved design of the original Hooke microscope. So, and you can see that it can give a magnification of over so many times as compared to the ordinary compound microscope, which magnifies an object up to a maximum of about 2000 times. The ordinary combined microscope uses light, whereas beam of electrons is used by the electron microscope. Now come to the cell theory. Cell theory was proposed by Matthias Cledion in the year 1838. He was a German botanist and he announced that every plant is made up of a large number of cells. He added that each of these cells performed various life processes. That is, every cell performs the different life functions. A year later, there was another scientist by the name Theodor Schwann. He was a German zoologist. He made similar discoveries in the animals. What he did was that he declared that all animals and plants are composed of the cells, which serve as the units of structure and function. That is why cell is known as the structural and functional unit of life. In short, this is known as the cell theory. So it was proposed by whom? Schwann and Cledion in the year 1839. Then Rudolf Virchow was a scientist. Rudolf Virchow in 1858 made an addition to the cell theory, that is, he extended the cell theory and he said that all cells arise from pre-existing cells. Means every cell will develop from where? From the pre-existing cell, that the cell which is existing earlier. So, the cell theory states major 3 points. First is the cell is the smallest unit of structure of all the living things. Second, the cell is the unit of function of all living things. All cells arise from pre-existing cells. So, there are 3 major points in the cell theory. First is that the cell is the smallest unit of structure of all living things. Second, the cell is the unit of function of all living things. And all cells will arise from the pre-existing cells. So, what does the cell theory mean? To understand it better, we have to take 2 examples, like a plant such as a mango and an animal like frog. See, structural unit. If we take any part of the body of a frog or any part of a mango tree and if we examine it under a microscope, what will we see? We will see a cellular structure there. Functional unit. Any function of the body of the frog or in the mango tree is due to what? Activity in its cells. For example, movement of the frog is due to the contractions of the muscle cells. Food is digested by enzymes which the cells of the gut secrete. Digested food is absorbed by the cells and absorbed food is used up in cells for various metabolic activities. In a mango tree, photosynthesis occurs in the cells of the green leaves. The root cells absorb water from the soil and so on. Means similarly, various functions are performed by cells. Cells die and are replaced. The third point is that the cells die and they are replaced by the new cells. The body of the frog or of the mango tree or any other tree or any other animal is composed of millions and millions of the cells. Many of these cells continuously die and they are replaced by new ones, which are formed by the division of younger cells. Formation of cells from the pre-existing cells is a never-ending chain. Means this takes place continuously. Most life starts in a single cell. The life of the frog and the life of the mango tree started as a fertilized egg. With the fertilized egg only, the life started, and as a seed respectively. The egg was a single cell produced by the cells of the ovary of the mother frog. The mango seed had an embryo which was formed after pollination and fertilization, which also started as a single cell in the ovary of the flower of the parent mango tree. Now, single celled. See, some organisms are single celled while some are multi-celled and some are few celled. Many small plants and animals are made up of just one single cell. For example, bacteria, yeast and amoeba are single cellular animals, or we can say that single cellular organisms. Few celled. Some very small plants and animals are made up of a relatively fewer number of cells, just a few hundred or a few thousand cells, unlike the millions of cells. So we can say that some organisms are few celled organisms, for example, Spirogyra and Volvox. Multi-celled organisms, most plants and animals we see around us, including ourselves, are made up of millions and billions of the cell. For example, human beings, mango trees or banyan tree or elephant or any other animal you can imagine of. An average size adult human constitutes approximately 37.2 trillion cells in the whole body, 100 billion nerve cells in the human brain, and 4 to 6 million RBCs, that is the red blood cells, and 7,000 white blood cells per cubic millimeter of the blood. So, we can say that some organisms are single celled while some are few celled and some are multicellular. Single celled are the bacteria, yeast and amoeba. Few celled are the Spirogyra and the Volvox, and multi-celled are the organisms which are made up of many cells, means millions of billions of cells. If we are talking about thousands or hundreds, then we will say them few celled. Now, cells, how small or how big? See, some are smallest, some longest and some are largest as the size. Smallest cells are the bacteria. Their size is 0.3 to 5 micrometer. RBCs about 7 micrometer in the human body. Longest cells are the nerve cells. Remember this? Which is the longest cell? The longest cells are the nerve cells. Largest cells are those of the ostrich egg.